The Toronto Raptors have figured it out. Masai Ujiri and Darko Rajaković have put together a master plan to fully execute on every single one of the Toronto Raptors goals for this season. And we've been watching the games. We see this team be extremely competitive for stretches against some of the top teams in the entire NBA. And while the performances can vary game by game, up and down, a little bit of inconsistencies, overall, every single one of these players on this roster is on an upward trajectory in regards to their development and improving their game. And that's essentially everything you can ask for in year one of a rebuild, regardless of the win-loss column. So we'll break down what's been going on over the last couple games, especially against the Clippers, against the Los Angeles Lakers, what's happening with the Toronto Raptors team, and why I'm still very bullish and excited and amped up about how this season has been going for Toronto. So lots of stuff to break down in this video, but before we do, today's Remembrance Day, folks, November 11th, got the poppy on and stuff, and just want to express gratitude for, Canada's, everyone out there that, the heroes in our past that have helped facilitate the, great lives that we're able to live in here now at this point. So, again, I know everyone's lives are crazy, and that's kind of how it goes, but today's the day to kind of remember and just be appreciative of all the positive things throughout Canada history. So, happy Remembrance Day to everyone that's out there, whether you're in Canada or not. It's just a nice day to kind of reflect and show gratitude for all the positives out there and throughout our history. So, but let's dive into the news, because again, Toronto Raptors, not a lot of positives in the win-loss column out there for getting some wins for this Raptors team. But despite the fact, even though it wasn't the greatest of game, especially against the Los Angeles Lakers, it was actually a crazy one against the Clippers. But this team has been still on that right trajectory. And it feels like right now the sentiment is kind of turning on some of these young guys, some of these players out there, just reading kind of Reddit, Twitter, these different places. And like, oh no, what's going on? Because again, all these games are close, and especially the Los Angeles Lakers losing 103 to 123. Right now the sentiment's like, oh, we're getting blown out. It's just going to be an ugly season. It's just going to be all this. But that is certainly not the case for this Toronto Raptors squad. And if you watch the game, you saw the Raptors in the first half of this one really just put things together, were really effective. We're just beating the brakes off the Los Angeles Lakers, for lack of a better another term. I mean, they did make a run at the end of the second half, which made it closer. But, I mean, the Toronto Raptors really just have these stretches. They have these runs where they look really, really good. And one guy that I want to really give credit to, want to give a little shout out to, is a Jakob Poeltl, because 7-12, I know he's getting memed on by Lakers fans because he took out Anthony Davis and LeBron James and stuff, but had 14 points, 10, I don't think that was intentional, but did give him a couple knocks, but 14 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 7-12 from the field in this game. And even though he's a -4, but you look at the rest of the team, it is what it is. But the Toronto Raptors, and this is kind of what I'm saying, what they haven't figured out. They have a golden ticket with Jakob Poeltl right now, because his impact out there on the court is not felt in the box score. He's been a lot better. He's been really strong out there in the box score performances this season. And obviously RJ Barrett, Scottie Barnes when healthy, even Gradey Dick, they've been more talented players for the Raptors this season. Maybe even Ochai Agbaji, if you want to make that argument, because he has been phenomenal. And we'll talk about that over the course of this video. But Jakob Poeltl is the most crucial, especially with Kelly Olynyk out, but is the most important player on this Toronto Raptors team in terms of winning. When Jakob Poeltl's out of the lineup, this team is cooked. Like, this team is just not in a position to win, and we saw it at the end of last season as well, because the Raptors are fairly competitive in games where Jakob Poeltl was out there in the lineup, when Pascal was on the team, when everyone else was traded. It was RJ, Immanuel Quickley team. When Jakob Poeltl, he was like that variable that was in the back, hey, are these games going to be good, or are they just going to be abysmal blowouts? And the wheels fell off for the Toronto Raptors really for a stretch there in the third, a little bit in the fourth, when Jakob Poeltl was not out there on the court. And it feels like, Masai Ujiri, Darko Rajaković now have like a get out of jail free card in some of these wins and some of these W's by saying, hey, just take Jakob Poeltl out of the game and kind of let things fall apart. Run that centerless basketball and, make that push, because again, the Raptors right now are 15th in the Eastern Conference. We're last in the entire NBA. And yes, there's a lot of bad teams. So if the Raptors want to maintain their lower tier status, I mean, again, as fun as it is to meme the Sixers, to meme the Bucks, I don't think they're going to be 13th and 14th to end the entire season. So again, I expect those teams to get better once they get a little bit more healthy. The Bucks just have a really weird situation going on because, again, Chris Middleton's out, but they shouldn't be losing this amount of games. But basically, to maintain at this sort of range, and it's not a necessity for the Raptors to be at the complete bottom of the spectrum, to be at the bottom with how the draft lottery odds are. Again, if you're in that bottom 5, bottom 6, yes, if you're in the bottom 3, you have the highest percent chances of getting one of these guys in a Cooper Flag, Ace Bailey, one of those top draft picks. But again, the Raptors being at the bottom of the standings kind of maximizes those chances to have a top lottery pick. And if you're in that bottom stat, regardless of if you're, getting the first pick, you're getting the top 5, right? So that's kind of how it goes. And this draft is absolutely loaded according to scouts, according to reports. So again, when Jakob Poeltl doesn't play, I mean, this team is able to just bottom out and, stall the momentum and stuff. And, when that's happening, right? Like, it's a situation for other players to kind of step in and get their games rocking. So again, it was definitely one of the more uglier games, especially in the second half against the Los Angeles Lakers, right? But it's people. I'm not stressed about losses. I'm looking at the individual performances, individual players, and Jakob Poeltl's been great. Yeah, RJ Barrett has struggled a little bit on this road trip right now, but still at 18, 7, and 4. And the fact that that's a bad game for RJ Barrett now, 18, 7, and 4, is a testament to how good he's been this season. I mean, we can take a look at his stats overall for this team, right, in terms of what he's been doing. 23 points, 5.6 rebounds, 6.1 assists. It's been the 3-point percentage has gone down, especially with the 1-for-7 shooting last night. But he's shooting 43% of corner threes. He's getting tougher looks here now at this point. The turnovers are up. But again, with Scottie Barnes out of the lineup, RJ Barrett's in that position right now where it's like, hey, him and Gradey Dick are the two players where the defenses are completely locked in. They're completely focused on them. And it's just growing pains, right? And where the Raptors have not had any of these easy games, easy matchups, easy sort of opponents, to start off this season. So RJ Barrett's doing this, putting up these numbers in the highs and lows against some of the best competition in the entire NBA. And I'm just very, very impressed with what he's been able to do for this Raptors squad. So yes, it wasn't a phenomenal game. Yes, there was turnovers. Yes, there was this. I'm strictly looking at the positives, looking at this stuff for this team. So that's a plus. And then obviously is running mate in the backcourt, Immanuel Quickley, only 27 minutes last night, 12 points. Right, 1 of 4 shooting. Again, you want to see some more shots go down, especially with the significant investment the Raptors made in IQ. But this is his second game back. Right, I'm not stressed about Immanuel Quickley getting back into rhythm, getting back in the flow, especially where the talent level in this Raptors team, it's actually kind of high, but the team is not in that fully position. The top tier talent I'm sort of speaking to, because again, we have a lot of guys as development pieces off the bench for this Raptors squad, but RJ Barrett, IQ, did their things out there. Gradey Dick, 5 of 10 shooting from the field, 14 points, coming down to earth a little bit, and with IQ back, didn't get a ton of shots, and the defense has been fully locked in on Gradey Dick here now at this point, but still getting around those screens. Wouldn't mind him more actions being used for Gradey Dick out there in these stretches, because we've seen how nuclear he's able to go, and get shots going. But the guy I do want to give a lot of praise, a lot of credit to, is Ochai Agbaji, who, again, some people were writing off, and honestly, after Summer League, like at the end of the season, I was pretty happy. I was like, okay, he gets a jump shot, things are good. But Summer League happened, and we didn't see any development in regards to the jump shot and stuff. I was concerned. I will be openly admit I was concerned about Ochai Agbaji, but really, he has just been awesome out there for this team. I mean, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists for Ochai over the course of the season, shooting 48% from the 3-point line and 62% on corner threes. Again, it's still early in the season, but that sample size, you revert back to the mean a little bit at this point in the season, and he is still cooking. He's still having these awesome games, and yes, he's in his 4th year and stuff, but he's still only 24 years old, right? He has not had a ton of opportunities over the course of his career as well. So, I mean, Ochai Agbaji really is coming to his own. We know how good he is on the defensive end, and the fact that he's able to knock down these shots at an elite clip, at an elite level, just is a huge, huge positive for this Toronto Raptors team. So that is a huge plus. But again, things are certainly not perfect. I don't want to sort of be disingenuous about the Toronto Raptors right now. Again, like the bottom of the Eastern Conference, the defense is concerning, right? Like especially when Jakob Poeltl's not out there on the floor. But right, and we did Jamal Shed, Davion Mitchell. That's going to be an interesting minutes distribution to close off the season. Who deserves more minutes? Because again, Davion Mitchell has been a beast, facilitating and stepping up in IQ's absence, but obviously both those guys have been really good. And Jamal Shed is getting less run, but still playing elite defense. And we know Jamal Shed has the exciting future, but Davion Mitchell is a nice acquisition over the course of this offseason. So that's going to be something that's tough to manage. The defense is something that has to get figured out. Mobo, right, is 1 and 2 from the field, 3 rebounds, doing his thing out there, but no crazy impact players off the bench for this Raptors team besides Chris Boucher, who continues to, have a resurgence, a revamped season this year. And again, it's going to be interesting because Chris Boucher is definitely older, doesn't fit that sort of current timeline for this Raptors squad, but I'm very, very happy that he's getting an opportunity for himself, for the Raptors' sake, for everybody's sake. Chris Boucher, I'm a big Chris Boucher fan, to redeem his value. I think he's in a contract year to get his back, to get his money for next season. And he's been good. 6-9 from the field, 2-4 from the 3-point line. And, for Raptors' selfish interest, 18-5-3 for Chris Boucher. Maybe if he continues to play at this level, he could bring some value back to the Toronto Raptors at this year's trade deadline, along with different players. But we'll see how things play out. I'm very, very happy with Chris Boucher and his performance on the roster. Not calling for him to immediately get dealt in. Bruno Fernando, again, is coming in and stepping in as a role at 2-2 from the field. He's hustling out there a little bit to get 8 boards, but Bruno Fernando, it is what it is. There's a pursuit for Cooper Flag right now, so I'm not stressing about really anything that's going on here now at this point. But still, the Raptors seem like they found a hack for losing games, for lineups that have that certain stretch. But we'll see how things continue to play out again. The Raptors have had a bloodbath of a schedule. The East is crazy, but we are currently last in the NBA. So it'd be nice to get rewarded at the end of the season. But we got to take pauses with how the young guys are going and how they're playing. The games, even, especially that Clippers game, it's really entertaining to watch and stuff. But, we'll break it all down here at Raptors Digest. Just make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. So celebrate. Remember to say, my poppy's kind of hidden there now at this point. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.